All right, guys, promised you another very special guest and excited to talk with Sir Blake Sinclair today. And we're going to talk about longevity of life and something as over the last few years I've become increasingly more interested in. And Sir Blake, it is our privilege to visit with you today and excited to delve into the topic.
Well, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, sir, where was it that your interest in longevity first got started? When did you first start delving in to the process, if you will?
It's sort of a slow process, and it's funny because it goes way back. And I was thinking about this, and I remember when I was young, I once went to this workshop, this seminar by this famous psychic. I can't remember his name. So many years ago. And when he came out, everybody was asking him questions. They said, well, do a reading on me, a quick one. And he just looked at me and said, you're going to develop something special in the future, but you're going to be eating a lot of good food and vitamins. At that time, I was a kid. And I laughed at him. I said, you got to be kidding. I'm a junk food junkie. And I think it was my quest for ending the suffering in life. And through that process, you do everything to help yourself. We're talking about the emotional, mental suffering, spiritual. And so, it starts with medication, and then it goes to exercise. And then you search and understand your body, what it needs. Then when you do that, you realize that there are a lot of things we need for our body, nutrients, supplements, vitamins. And when you incorporate that, your body begins to transform. And without it, it's more difficult. With it, it's much easier. So, and also my mother was very sick, and she had dementia. So I had to take care of her. And we went through the medical route, and it really devastated her. It made her condition worse to the point where we had to almost put her in a home. I wasn't happy with that. And so I started to research into alternative healing methods. And actually, I got to a point where I improved her memory. Her dementia had improved through my holistic approach. Then I started to search further and further. And eventually, throughout the process, I became a writer. And that's a long story. But the thing about writing is that I don't write like I want to sit down and write a book. It's like I get downloads of wisdom shared to me. And then I start writing those wisdom and incorporating them into my life. So each book represents that download. And when that download's complete, the book is done. So they're different themes, but they're all connected as a trilogy. The first book is like finding peace, happiness, and true success. And that's a Dare to Imagine. The second one is Beyond Imagination, A Path to God and the Divine Realm. And that's the birth of my mystical experiences, my mystical journey. So, I thought I was done. I listened to the universe. I wrote these books for humanity. It's okay, I did my good deed. But then all of a sudden, it's like right before the pandemic, I started to get downloads again. This time, it was a very strong message, writing about information about the health, wellness, longevity. And then not only did I start getting downloads about what to write, the universe, God, the ascended beings start bringing all these great masters around the world that were willing to sit down with me, give me their time to share their secrets about health and wellness and longevity. So it's a plethora of information from different angles. It's one of the most comprehensive books you can find on holistic alternative healings. They call it the Holistic Bible, so it's lots of information. Too many people are suffering. My grandma passed away when I was young, and it devastated me. And I always felt inside I need to find a way to help people end the suffering, even within myself first, and then help others as well. So that's part of why I'm here, to bring kind of like harmony to people, bring more joy and end the suffering, and lift up the consciousness of humanity.
Now we talk about longevity. Now, how can just the average person, is it possible for just the average Joe or Jane, if you will, to achieve longevity on their own, or do they have to look outside, if you will?
Well, on your own, it's very difficult. If you follow the typical things that most people do. And most people say if you want to live long or if you want to be healthy, you exercise, you eat better. Well, that sounds great, but it's not that simplistic because exercise alone is not enough and eating better is not enough. The reason why is because a lot of our food is not nutrient dense. The soil that we plant the vegetables and fruits, it doesn't contain enough minerals. We don't give time for the soil to get minerals again. We just keep on harvesting over and over. And so the soil is depleted of minerals. So you can eat a bunch of fruits and vegetables, but you're not getting the minerals in your body. And minerals are the sparks of life. So without it, your body is not working the way it should work. So definitely we need to do more than that. That's just the beginning. But we can do it. It's just through eating better, getting more nutrients, and getting more vitamins and exercise. So there's a lot of things we can do, but we'll get more into that.
And it seems so simple, and we've all heard it all of our lives. I still hate to do it though. You're told to drink 8 glasses of water at least a day to saturate and to do things that help you. But you also talk about the key of water to longevity. So I'll give you a chance to help convince me to keep drinking this water, if you will.
Yeah. So, I mean, most of our body is anywhere from 60 to 70% water. And in order for the body to function, we need that water. Unfortunately, water itself doesn't have much in it, especially if you get tap water. It's got like probably chemicals in there. It's got fluoride, which affects your brain. It affects your pineal gland, which affects your sleeping pattern because your pineal gland produces melatonin. It affects your higher consciousness and your psychic abilities. If it matters to you, it doesn't matter for most people, but for thinking higher consciousness, it matters. So water is very important to get really clean water. You can get filtered water by a little filter. It helps somewhat, but realistically, you have to get a system like a reverse osmosis that cleans up the water, purifies it. The problem with that, it takes out everything, all the minerals.
Right.
So you basically get dead water. There's nothing in it but clean water. So, but the good thing is that you can add things to it. You can squeeze a little bit of lemon juice in there, squeeze a little bit of lime, and you can drink some minerals, fulvic minerals, to add the minerals back into your water. So, and then drinking water too. So even if you drink the water, it goes into your body, but people don't realize that you have to add a little salt to it, not regular table salt. That's the worst thing you can do. So like maybe a Celtic salt, some type of Hawaiian salt, some brand of Himalayan salt. Himalayan salt is hard to get a good brand. They do exist, but a lot of them are contaminated. So when in doubt, just get the Celtic salt. It's got a lot of minerals in there. Just put a pinch in a cup of water, and when you drink it, the salt helps to get the water into your cells where you need it for your cell to function properly. People who drink liters and liters of water thinking it help them actually are kind of maybe flooding the body. You can drown from drinking too much water without the electrolytes, like the salt, sodium chloride, like magnesium, potassium, all that helps to get the water where it needs to go. So you can activate it, water, so with the salt and with the little lemon, with juice, fruits and things like that to activate it with some pranic energy in it. But it's very important to have that. You know, everything in our body circulates, you know, our blood circulates. We need water. Without it, you get dehydrated and a lot of things can happen. So if you want to live long, you want to live healthy, especially if you're an athlete, you work out, you sweat, you lose water, and you lose minerals too. And this is one important thing is that a lot of people think you go to the gym, you work out, you get on a treadmill, you sweat a lot, you drink Gatorade or some kind of sports drink or something, you know, and which is fine. But the problem is that you're not putting in the nutrients, the minerals that you're losing. Consequently, we have a lot of young people who work too hard. I think my friend and I were talking about 2 doctors in a top shape. They were like cardiologists, and they were fit, low fat. They both just died all of a sudden. Yeah, I know 2 people who were working on a treadmill, and then they just were found dead next to the treadmill. And our theory is that they sweated a lot, They drank water probably, which didn't have anything in it.
Mm-hmm.
They lost a lot of minerals, especially magnesium and selenium. If you don't put that back in your body, eventually your heart stops.
Mm.
So you have to make sure you balance your body by putting back in what you lose. And the reality is we lose a lot, not just from exercise, especially magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
We have stress, we drink coffee, we drink alcohol, we take medication that sucks all the magnesium out of the body.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely we have to put that back in the body.
And along with water, you also have to feed nutrients as well. What type of a diet should one expect if they are trying to add longevity to their life?
What kind of diet? That's $1 million question. But if we look at the people on the planet that live long lives, we look at Japan,
Mm-hmm.
specifically in Okinawa. They eat a lot of seaweed as protein. It's got iodine,
Mm-hmm.
potassium. It's good for you. And they also eat fish, which has omega-3 fatty acid, which is good for the heart, good for the brain. And they also eat and drink fermented things. So that has probiotic,
Right.
prebiotic, and those are the bacteria that our body needs. So the probiotic is a good bacteria for your gut microbiome. And that's the second brain. So when you keep that healthy, you become happy because it produces serotonin. And that gut connects to our brain. So when that's functioning properly, we minimize illnesses and diseases. In fact, the gut is about 80 to 90% of our, what do you call it, the immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So they eat fish, they eat the seaweed, and fruits and vegetables. But if we look at other cultures, we look at, let's say, the Mediterranean diet, it's also rich in fruits and vegetables too. They eat some fish as well. They use a lot of olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
Olive oil is very good. It's an antioxidant, and you can put it in your salad. It's better not to cook with it, but if you do cook, just cook at a lower temperature. So they have that in there. They also have yogurt. Yogurt has a probiotic,
Mm-hmm.
as long as it's not pasteurized. So it's pasteurized, it kills the bacteria and the probiotic. So having those kind of things, I think the probiotic, either in fermented food or in the yogurt, is good. Now, there's also a group in California. I think it's in Southern California, Loma Linda.
Mm-hmm.
The people there, I think they're first day Adventists. And those people there are kind of an interesting group. They're very community oriented, very close group. They're very conscientious about their health.
Mm-hmm.
And they're mostly plant-based diet. And they live 10 years more than the average American. So definitely they're doing something right. So, and then also if you look at Korea, they eat a lot of fermented food, like kimchi is very good for probiotic. So rather than just focus on one country, I think you take the best in each country and integrate that. So adding the fermented food in your diet, the kimchi, and there's a drink called 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐂 from Japan. They sell it here. You can get online. It has fruits and vegetables, so it contains prebiotic. It's like the food for the probiotic and probiotic. And then having fish a couple of times a day, a couple of times a week, especially like wild salmon. Wild salmon, it's like one of the healthiest fishes you can eat. Mackerels and saba, or what do you call that? Anchovies,
Yeah.
sardines. But with the wild salmon, it has astaxanthin. It's a kind of natural occurring antioxidant. It's very high. It gives the fish the color. And it's like 7,000 times stronger than vitamin C. So it gives you that perspective. Yeah, but just take a couple of times a week. And depending on your level, if you're having toxic body, you can talk to your doctor, maybe take it less. And if some people worry about that, you can take something called a PEO oil. It's formulated by a professor at MIT. And it basically has a omega-3 fatty acid, omega-6 fatty acid. It helps support your brain, your heart, your blood vessels, so that you don't have to worry about fish. So having that, and then having the vegetables, the fruits, and the fiber, and the hydration, and then you'd be in a much better shape as far as nutrition is concerned.
That's right. Now what we also talked physically there, you still have to be active. You still, I mean, exercise isn't numero uno, but how important is being active and to keep moving? I know as I age, the longer I sit still, the longer it takes me to get moving whenever I do decide to move. So what's an appropriate move, sedentary balance, if you will?
You got the key word, movement. You have to move. And it's not just our body, but our brain. Everything in our body has to move. So as you read, as you study, as you learn a new language, as you learn a new skill, you're stimulating the movement of your neurons, your brain cells, the electrical activity. So then you have to move your body. So exercises is very important. There's three components of exercise we need to incorporate. So one is the endurance training, which is the cardio, the treadmills, the power walking, and also I like to do the trampoline. It seems so basic, but that exercise stimulates your blood vessels, and then puts a kind of shearing force on your artery. There's a lining on your artery called the endothelial lining, and when it activates that, that area is considered the fountain of youth, according to Dr. Sears, kind of Harvard-trained doctor. And then it releases nitric oxide, so the molecule of life, and that helps to dilate and open up the artery. So there's flow of nutrients, oxygen to the cells, to the organs and tissues for health and wellness. And then it also does repair. So if you do that kind of exercise, it activates that to happen. So having that kind of endurance training, but I kind of warn people, or not warn people, but I'm not crazy about running. I think running for some people is good, especially if you have good training and someone coach you how to run, how to stretch, what kind of shoes to wear. But a lot of people aren't trained, and they go out and start jogging and pounding hard, and it hurts the joints, and then they're wearing the wrong kind of shoe. Over time, they're tweaking out their ankle, they're tweaking their knee, they're tweaking the hips, and you get all sorts of issues. And eventually you get the arthritic hip and knee. So to me, I think things that are slower, like a brisk walking is okay with a good shoe. And so endurance training is part of it. The second thing is strength training. So lifting some weights. You don't have to do bodybuilding. Start 1 pound, 2 pounds, work the way to 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever you can tolerate without overexerting yourself. Don't think of it in terms of looking so hot or something like that. Think of it in terms of just kind of building your strength. It will help you with your stress. It will help you with your depression, anxiety. It will give you confidence. And as when you're doing things, you're stronger. So it's functional too. So the thing about it, the bodybuilding is fine, if you get the right kind of training. But there are some people, I even had a client who was a professional weightlifter, really buffed. And he was in bed, but he couldn't walk anymore because he was lifting heavy weights. And the body, the joints can only take so much pressure. So you're lifting 500 pounds, 1,000 pounds, and press your girlfriend or your buddies. And over time, that's putting that pressure on your cartilage. And so this guy that has a client, he was probably in his 50s or 60s, bedridden, top of his body is totally buff, but he couldn't even stand up because his hips were devastated. So that's why I'm not a proponent of like these heavy bodybuilding. Light bodybuilding is fine. If you're professional, you know what you're doing, that's fine too. But it's just the body can only do so much. And the third component is flexibility. So just doing stretching helps. Now that's the kind of the American way, right? But our body is not just a physical, and then mind and emotions. We have, at the core of our level is energy and vibration. And we also have what they call qi. Qi is the energy in our body, the vital force energy of life. When you have a lot of it, you're full of energy. When you have a little bit, you get tired so much. So these exercises we do, running and all that, doesn't really tap into it. I mean, it maybe taps into it in some ways, but to really harness it, to nurture it, to grow, it's a more of a yin kind of activity, because like exercise, running, those are like more young energy, very compared to like the Tai Chi, kind of softer and gentle approach where you kind of balance the heaven, earth, and body and soul. And slow rhythmic movement, even if you don't know how to do it right, just a kind of slow movement activates the chi. You can even think positive thought like, I'm happy, I'm healthy and strong. And that thought process weaves into your emotions and weaves into the chi. activates it to give you more life energy. Now, there are herbal tonic elixirs you can take along too to support it. So that helps. So you have the chi in your body, and then you have prana energy. That's also kind of going through your central channel. That's more subtle energy. So, I don't know if you've taken yoga before, but they talk about doing pranayama breathing, and that activates that energy too. So if you got the prana and the chi working together, you're working on these internal spiritual energies, then that's how you live longer. And that also, there's a master in China, Master Li. He lived to 256 years old. And a lot of these yogis, right now, my friend Ramarishi and his wife Tara, they're visiting an old yogi in India. I think he's probably 134, 135 years old right now. And he doesn't even eat food. He has something they call armita, and very high spirituality when they activate the pineal gland to produce this kind of nectar and milk, and it goes to the body to feed it basically. So you don't need to eat. But that's a very high form of spirituality. But this guy, 256 years old, Master Li, what helped him is that he didn't do any bodybuilding. He didn't do any treadmill. Back then, they didn't have that kind of stuff. And so what he did is he drank this kind of goji berry tea, and he drank that. And then he also did bakwa martial arts. They kind of walk around in a kind of circle. And my master, Kung Fu master in San Francisco, Grandmaster Y.C. Wong, he taught me when I was a kid. And I just looked the other day, he's still alive. He's still teaching in San Francisco. He does the bakwa type of martial art. And so Tai Chi, slow movement kind of things. And then the most important thing is he did this meditation. Studies have shown that by doing meditation consistently over time, over 3 to 6 months, lengthens your telomeres. And that helps you to live longer. So I would definitely incorporate those kind of things. So I think the Western thing is great, but if we can incorporate some of these Eastern things too, that would definitely make you live longer.
Now, we talked to workout, and going along with workout, you see all of the commercialization of the workouts. You see the bodybuilding, the powders, the whey proteins, the supplements. What are the actual good additives that you need to consider in addition to your workout or your exercise routine, movement, however you want to phrase that?
Are you talking about like supplements or?
Yeah, or vitamins even. I mean, I'm lumping them all together. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, yeah, well, some of those things some people don't recommend. I know the medical medium didn't recommend whey protein because he said it was kind of inflammatory to the body, and inflammation is a big issue for pain. And inflammation also contributes to like a dementia. So we don't want inflammation, as much as possible. So it's like nowadays, it depends on who you hear from. They have different opinions. So you have to kind of search deep, but there are some common grounds on what helps you. But the important things in terms of supplements for longevity specifically, I'm sure you heard the buzz. They talk about the NMN supplement. Yeah, I think Dr. David Sinclair from Harvard talks a lot about that. He talks about how it helps to protect the DNA from damage and to give you more energy. But because so many people have heard about that, they're trying to buy that, and it's still really hard to get that, and it's kind of expensive. So there's another alternative. You can get niacinamide. Niacinamide is also a precursor to NAD. NAD it helps you, the more of that you have in your body, the more energy it has. So that's the same kind of thing, the lower dose, and it's less cost, and you can get it at the health food store. So that's what you can do. So that's one thing you can do for the DNA. But I think if you just look at one thing, we're oversimplifying things. So I like to look at things holistically. So I'll give it to you. So the other thing that I think is very important is magnesium. Sort of inexpensive. But problem with that magnesium is most people don't understand it, including doctors, because doctors, they spend probably 5 to 10% of the education on nutrition, and they spend the rest of the time on diagnostic and the stuff they need to be a doctor. So magnesium, a lot of times the clients are told to take magnesium, so they go out and buy magnesium, and 90% of the time they get magnesium oxide, which is the poorest form of magnesium, very poor absorption. So don't even waste your money buying that. So magnesium comes with different compound. Depending on your problem, you want a different magnesium to address it. For example, if you have a heart issue, you want more support there, you get magnesium taurate. It'll support your heart, your arteries. If you want support for your brain, you'll get magnesium L-threonate. It'll help your brain, the memory, and brain function. If you want something for chronic pain, magnesium malate, and that'll help you. If you want something for sleep, magnesium glycinate. If you want something for your stomach, magnesium citrate. If you're just having a sore muscle from a workout, maybe magnesium phosphate and then Epsom salt, just kind of soak into the bath. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic chemical reactions in your body. So most people don't realize that, so they don't take it. And what happens is that 300 chemical reaction is kind of out of sync. So 300 times a day, you're not working properly. Your body is not healing properly. So that means you're more prone to falling apart, basically. You can get dizzy. Your heart can become irregular. You can get cramps. You can get stressed out. So by taking magnesium, by raising it up, you deal with depression, you deal with anxiety, you deal with stress, you sleep better. So it's one of those minerals that's so important that nobody talks about. And when they do talk about it, they give you the cheapest version that does nothing. So get a good version of magnesium. And, like for all your viewers, it's very important before you do anything, before you put anything in your mouth, food, nutrients, minerals, or vitamins, always talk to your doctor, because everybody's condition is different. Most people may take certain vitamin, they'll be okay, but in your condition, you may have a disease or illness that you can't take that. So always talk to your doctor first. But having said that, so the magnesium is very important. But before you buy anything, always look for the company. Make sure it's a good company, because everybody jumps on a bandwagon. So when they find out that NMN is good, everybody copies them. Then you get all these knockoff. So you want to get a good company like Jaro or Life Extension, things like that, Now Brand, or good companies. And that, so then you're getting authentic dosage of a product and not just a knockoff. So magnesium is very important. Vitamin D is very important. Vitamin D is important for your bones. It's also important for your immune system. But the thing with vitamin D, though, is that you have to make sure you take it with fatty food, because it needs fat to be absorbed in your body. And most people don't know that. They just take it in the morning with just water. That doesn't work. You need to have some kind of fatty food. So vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, K2, all that, you need fatty food. And then the minerals, you can take it with some food. So you take the magnesium, and then you take the vitamin D. Vitamin C is also very good. Zinc is good for your immune system. And if you don't eat a well-balanced diet, I would recommend you to get a good quality multivitamin. Okay, just watch your iron level. Don't get too high. And so those are the kind of big things. And then the other big thing I mentioned before is the minerals. See, there's about 103 minerals or so, but our body needs 18 of them to function properly. And most of our fruits and vegetables are not giving that to us. You can buy some kind of supplement, might give you a few. From my experience, I find that if you get something like a fulvic mineral, it has about 72 to 70 minerals and trace minerals. That's pretty good. Then I discovered the Iris sea moss. It has about 92. And when I took that, it has minerals, trace minerals, and vitamins, and potassium, which is good for your blood pressure. I felt a lot better when I took it. So it's nutrient dense. So something like that. So if you take minerals and you replenish it on a regular basis, then you'll be much better health. So minerals and vitamins, and those. And so that's the Western side. So now there's also other stuff like hirataki. That's the king of the herbs in the Indian culture. It helps your digestive system, and it helps cleansing in your body, detoxification, and gives you energy. So you kind of research it and see what resonates with you. And I have a friend, she's an actress in Hollywood. She's done like over 100, I think, 20 films. And she looks 20 to 30 years younger than her age. And her secret, she says, is cordyceps. She uses a special blend of cordyceps and rishis made by Gano. And if your viewers want it, you can contact me. I can give you her link or phone number. You guys can order from her. But it's very helpful. Reishi is known to be supportive of cancer. It's a great adaptogen. Cordyceps helps with the energy. And I have a friend, that same friend I mentioned earlier, Roma Rishi, and his wife Tara. They're in India visiting that famous yogi.
Hmm.
But they also went to the Shaolin Temple a long time ago with Ron Teagarden. He's a famous herbalist. And they went to the Shaolin Temple and they noticed there was a Buddhist statue there.
Hmm.
And on one side was a reishi herb, the mushroom, and on the other side was a chaga. So chaga is another herb, and it helps for the immune system. It's anti-glycemic, so it cuts the sugar level down.
Hmm.
It's anti-inflammatory. So that's another good one too. If you get the chaga and the reishi in your diet, so those pretty much cover most of the important nutrients. Now, if you want to go further, I want to mention the store because I think it's an amazing store, and most people don't know about it, except the celebrities and presidents. This place is called Dragon Herbs, dragonherbs.com. It's an online store. They have it in LA, actual stores you can go into where they have herbal elixir bars. So a lot of celebrities, they go there to get their drink, and they get this drink called the Spring Dragon Tea, and it has gynostema, which is a ingredient that the Japanese researcher found that people in China who had long life, they were drinking this tea with that particular ingredient, and it's supposed to be the healthiest tea in the world. It supports longevity, and so they use that as a base for their drinks. So when you go to the bar, they have all these elixirs. So they have some that you can add there to like chi drops to help you feel the energy of a rock star. Or if you're stressed out, they have something else to kind of calm you down. If you've never been there, you should try. It's a wonderful bar. You know, famous celebrities go there all the times, and ex-presidents go there to get their power and energy. So you know it's a good place. So I
That's
think
right.
that pretty much covered most of it.
That's cool. Now, we've talked about the ways that we increase and ways that we help our longevity, but what are the little things that we're doing every day that are decreasing our longevity? What are the things that we need to cut out of our lives?
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. I mean,
Right.
stress is number one.
Yeah.
So we live in this world that's full of stress, but maybe next time we can talk about this. Probably take a whole hour to talk about stress. There are techniques to get rid of it, but stress is a big one. And there's the one I call kind of electronic stress, kind of the invisible stress, electronic pollution that's around us. Our technology, our computers, our cell phones, our modems, or Wi-Fi, the 5G. They emit these invisible rays, basically like a microwave, and a body is not supposed to have that kind of frequency. So over time, it messes up our health. It messes up, it gives us headaches, it affects our vision, it affects our body in terms of being predisposing us to cancer. So basically, it's not good for our body, especially if you're pregnant.
Mhm.
If you're pregnant, oh my God, turn off your Wi-Fi at nighttime. You know, in China, if you're pregnant, you can get a ticket if you're not wearing a special protective clothing
Wow.
because they know that it affects it from the 5G.
Mhm.
So yeah, so why five all those things can affect you. The food we eat, a lot of the fruits and vegetables, most of it's sprayed by pesticide.
Mhm.
So even the organic ones are sprayed, but with a lot less, but you still have to clean it. So maybe you want to clean it with some kind of a baking soda, maybe 1 to 2 teaspoons of baking soda per quart of water. So maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes, soak it there, rinse it out, and that'll take off a lot of the pesticides.
Mm.
Some people get like a ozonator. I think in California you can't buy that, but other states you can get that. Put the fruits and vegetables in there, and then it cleans it, and then you can rinse it and then eat it. So GMO, that's not good for your microbiome. So make sure you get food that don't have that. And so a lot of the food we have, they have preservative, they have ingredients that are chemicals.
Mhm.
And so when you read that, that's destroying you. So if you get food that have hormones injected into it, like antibiotic, or they're treating the chicken, they're treating the fish. They put like a farm raised salmon into about one area. So they put antibiotic because they don't want them to get sick. Guess what? You eat them, the antibiotic gets into you. Antibiotic is like a nuclear bomb for your microbiome, for your gut. So it kills all the bad bacteria as well as a good one. So that's why you stay away from that. And if you do wipe it out, you have to repopulate it. It's like a fish pond. It's wiped out. You had to add new fishes in there.
Mhm.
Well, you add the new probiotics in there, high dosage and taper it down. And by the way, all this information, most of what I'm talking about, it's in my third book. A New Beginning, An Antidote to Civilization. It's like 500 pages. It's like an encyclopedia. It has all the information to help you slowly digest this, because this is a lot of information,
Yeah.
but it's very powerful information that would change your life. So you got the antibiotic, you have the hormones, so all the chemicals I put into that. So best to go organic and clean, even though you get the organic fruits and vegetables. And then as far as the EMF, they sell clothing you can wear that protects you against that EMF.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a machine you can buy. I do have a link for that. You can always contact me. They call it a cocoon. It's a unit you put into your house, you plug it in, and it actually protects your whole house 100 feet above and below. It creates this kind of bubble of protection. It kind of negates or minimizes the effect of the EMF in your house.
Mm.
And there's also cards you can put in the program to improve the health of your plants, of your pets, and it helps you sleep better. 2 different cards in the program for that. And there's also one here. Can you see this one here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the bubble. And that works on a personal level, creates a bubble around you against all the EMF that's around you when you go around, especially these cars. We have these smart cars.
Yeah.
They have a lot of EMF in there. And so you wear that, and plus maybe the clothing, you protect yourself, and then you'll live longer. Those are just some of the things I can think of off the top of my head.
That's cool. Now, Sir Blake, if folks you mentioned want to reach out, have some questions, want to find out more about the book, about other things that you offer as well, where's the best place for folks to reach out to you?
Well, we just launched our website this week, still finalizing a little bit. So it's not perfect yet, but it's 90% there. SirBlakeSinclair.com. And all my books are there. So you can click and read it, the reviews, and click and go to buy it there too. And all the services that I do from my business and from my personal private sessions too, I offer. So some are on site, some are on Zoom, but we do offer different kind of services.
That's cool. Well, Sir Blake Sinclair, it has been great to have the chance to visit with you today, sir. I appreciate the insight. I'm looking forward to delving more into it in the near future as well.
Well, thank you, Cameron. It's been an honor. You're an awesome person. You have a wonderful day.